Level 1. Fish. You're 23. The steel door slams behind you, and the noise bounces off concrete walls that smell like disinfectant and sweat. You carry a bedroll, a toothbrush, 1 bar of soap. The tier is 2 stories of cells stacked like cages. 40 men watch you walk. Nobody speaks. You don't know it yet, but every step you take right now is being evaluated. How you hold the bedroll, whether you make eye contact, how fast you walk. A guard points to a cell on the upper tier. You climb the metal stairs. Your cellmate is lying on the bottom bunk, face to the wall. He doesn't turn around. You throw your bedroll on the top bunk and sit down. The mattress is 2 inches of foam on a steel frame. You stare at the ceiling. It's covered in names, scratched into the paint. Hundreds of them. You wonder how many of those men are still alive. Dinner is in 1 hour. You'll walk into that chow hall and make the first decision that determines whether you survive the next 6 months or get carried out on a stretcher. You don't know the rules yet. You don't know the borders. You don't even know which tables you're allowed to sit at. Level 2. The claim. Day 3. A man sits down across from you at breakfast. Shaved head, tattoos up his neck. He asks where you're from, what neighborhood, what block. You tell him. He nods. Then he asks the real question. Who do you run with? You say nobody. You're solo. You just want to do your time. He smiles. That's not how it works, he says. Solo means prey. Solo means when something happens, nobody backs you. Solo means you'll be tested within a week. He stands up, leaves his tray, walks away. That afternoon, you're in the yard. Groups of men cluster by the fence, the weight pile, the handball court. Lines you can't see divide the concrete into territories. You notice the races don't mix. Blacks with blacks, whites with whites. Hispanics in 3 separate groups that don't talk to each other. Each group has a core of 5 or 6 men who don't move much, they just watch. Those are the shot callers. You're standing alone near the basketball hoop when 2 men walk up. Same race as you. One asks if you've made a decision yet. You ask what decision. He says you know what decision. You can walk the yard alone and see what happens. Or you can walk with people who'll make sure nothing happens. But walking with people costs something. Level 3. The tax. You sit in your cell that night and think about what the man said. Costs something. You've heard the stories. You know what people think prison gangs are. But here's what nobody tells you. The gang isn't a choice between freedom and membership. It's a choice between one form of debt and another. The tax comes in 3 forms: money on your books, commissary items every week, or work. The work is the part civilians don't understand. You become a mule. You carry things between cells. You stand lookout during a transaction. You hold a weapon for 20 minutes while someone else uses the bathroom. Small tasks, deniable tasks, but each one ties you tighter. You agree. You don't have a choice. The next day, the same man finds you in the yard. He introduces you to someone older. 45, muscled like a man who's been lifting concrete blocks for 2 decades. His name is Cisco. He asks you 3 questions. Can you keep your mouth shut? Can you follow orders without asking why? Are you willing to put in work if it comes to that? You say yes to all 3. He nods, says you're under the umbrella now. That means protection. That means nobody touches you without going through him. But it also means, when he calls, you come. When he says, move, you move. You're not a full member yet. You're an associate, probationary. You'll stay probationary until you prove you're not a rat, not a coward, and not stupid. Level 4. The soldier. 6 months in, you've proven yourself. You carried packages. You stood watch. You kept your mouth shut during 3 shakedowns when guards tore your cell apart looking for contraband. You'd already moved. Cisco pulls you aside after count one morning. He says you're solid. Says the big homie's noticed. You're no longer probationary. That night, in a cell 3 doors down, 5 men gather. You're told to come. This is the ceremony. No candles, no chanting, just a shot caller from the main yard and 4 ranked soldiers. They tell you the rules. You don't talk to protective custody inmates. You don't talk to sex offenders. You don't cooperate with administration. You collect debts when told. You move product when told. You deliver violence when told. They ask if you understand. You say yes. One of the men hands you a small piece of paper with a number on it. It's a contact on the outside. Memorize it. Burn it. When you get to the phone, you call that number once. You say your name, you say, "You're official." The person on the other end says, "Welcome home." That's it. You're in. Your status changes immediately. Men nod at you in the chow hall now. You get better commissary deals. When there's a good cell opening up, you're offered it before the fish. You have backing. But here's what you also have: a target on your back from every other gang in the facility, and a chain around your neck that doesn't come off until you parole out or die. Level 5. The Enforcer. 2 years in. You've put in work. That's the phrase they use. Work. Like it's carpentry. You've held men down while others did the cutting. You've delivered beatings in blind spots where cameras don't reach. You've proven you won't fold when it gets bloody. Cisco calls you to the chapel during rec. The chapel is neutral ground. He tells you the big homie on B Yard wants to meet you. The big homie is a man serving life without parole. 30 years in. He runs everything from a cell in the SHU, the Secure Housing Unit. Solitary confinement. But even from there, his word moves through the prison like electricity through a wire. You meet him during a medical call. He's in a cage, shackled. He looks at you for 10 seconds without speaking. Then he asks if you know what an enforcer is. You say you think so. He says no, you don't. An enforcer isn't muscle. Muscle is easy. Every yard has muscle. An enforcer is someone who can think under pressure. Someone who can organize a hit in a crowded chow hall and walk away clean. Someone who understands that violence is a language and you're about to become fluent. He tells you there's a debt on C Yard, a man who didn't pay taxes, a man who's been dodging for 3 weeks. Tomorrow during mainline, you'll find him. You'll have 45 seconds. 2 other soldiers will be with you. Your job is to make sure he doesn't leave the chow hall on his feet. You nod. He says good. Then he's escorted back to the SHU. The next day, it happens exactly as described. You see the target. You move. It's over in 30 seconds. Guards rush in. You're cuffed, taken to holding. You say nothing during the interrogation. 12 hours later, you're back in general population. No charges, no witnesses. The man you hit is in the infirmary with a broken jaw and 3 cracked ribs. Cisco finds you in the yard that afternoon. He says you're official now. You're an enforcer. That means you're feared. That also means you're used. Every time something needs to happen, your name comes up. Level 6, the lieutenant. 4 years in. You've caught 2 cases inside: assault, possession of a weapon. Both times you pled out to minor infractions. The gang's lawyer on the outside handled it. That's another thing civilians don't understand. These organizations have legal teams. They have infrastructure. They're not chaotic. They're businesses. You're called to a meeting in the library. The library is another control point. The gang runs the clerk position, so they decide who gets access. 4 men are already there when you arrive. One of them is a man you've never seen before. Transferred in last week from Pelican Bay. He's a captain. That's 2 ranks above you. He does the talking. He says the structure is changing. They're consolidating power. They're removing dead weight. He asks if you know what a lieutenant does. You say you think so. He says a lieutenant manages soldiers. A lieutenant collects taxes. A lieutenant makes sure orders from the top flow down to the bottom without distortion. You're being promoted. You'll oversee 8 men. If they screw up, you screw up. If they succeed, you succeed. Your first task as lieutenant. There's a new fish who came in last week claiming to be connected to a set on the outside. But the captain called the set. Nobody knows this kid. He's lying. Lying about gang affiliation is a death sentence. You have 72 hours to handle it. Quietly. No heat. No lockdown. When you're done, report back. You handle it. You won't think about it again for years. But some nights, when you can't sleep, you'll remember the look on the kid's face when he realized nobody was coming to help him. Level 7, the shot caller. 7 years in. You're 30 now. You've done more time inside than you ever did outside as an adult. This is your world now. The streets are a memory. You're a shot caller. That means you run a yard. 60 men answer to you. You decide who gets taxed, who gets protection, who gets hurt. You speak directly to the captains. They speak to the big homies in the SHU. That's the chain. Your cell is different now. You have a tablet, a hot plate, real coffee. Guards look the other way because you keep the peace. That's the deal. You stop riots before they start. You mediate disputes. You make sure the prison runs smoothly. In exchange, you get privileges. It's a partnership. Unspoken. But everyone understands it. You also carry weight you didn't expect. Men come to you with problems. Their families on the outside need money. Their kids need help. Their wives left them. You're not just a gang leader. You're a father figure. A mayor. A judge. You settle arguments over gambling debts, over disrespect, over stolen food. Most of the time, you do it without violence, because violence draws attention, and attention is bad for business. But some situations require violence. A sex offender gets accidentally placed in general population. The administration knows what will happen. You're the one who decides how and when. You make it quick. You make it final. The man is found unresponsive in his cell the next morning. Natural causes, the report says. Heart attack. Everyone knows the truth. Nobody says it out loud. You're sitting in the yard one afternoon when a new transfer walks past. Young, confident, tattoos still fresh. He locks eyes with you for a half-second too long. You make a note. You'll find out who he is, who he ran with, whether he's a threat. Because at this level, threats don't announce themselves. They arrive quietly. And if you're not careful, they take your position before you realize what's happening. Level 8. The captain. 10 years in. You're a captain now. That means you operate across multiple facilities. When you get transferred, it's not random, it's strategic. The organization moves you where you're needed. A yard that's losing control. A facility where a rival gang is gaining ground. A prison where the gang needs to establish a foothold. You go in. You organize. You stabilize. You report back. You communicate through coded letters, through visits from people who've never met you but carry messages, through phones that get smuggled in and used once before being destroyed. You're part of a network that spans the entire state prison system. Decisions made in one facility ripple through 5 others within a week. You also handle discipline inside the organization. When a soldier breaks the rules, you investigate. You hold court. You pass sentence. The most common sentence is a beating. The crew calls it getting stretched. The target is held down and hit for 30 seconds by multiple men. It's not meant to kill. It's meant to teach. Most men take it and stay in line. Some refuse. Those men disappear. But the hardest part of being a captain isn't the violence, it's the politics. You're managing egos. You're balancing power between different factions inside the gang. You're negotiating truces with rival gangs when it benefits both sides. You're a diplomat in a world where diplomacy is conducted through intermediaries, and every conversation could be your last. You sit in your cell at night and think about the men under you, the soldiers who look up to you, the lieutenants who want your position, the big homies in the SHU who could order your death with a single word. You're powerful, but you're also trapped. There's no retirement from this. You don't step down. You either get killed, get transferred to the SHU, or you parole out and try to disappear. That's it. Level 9. The big homie. 15 years in. You're in the SHU now. Solitary confinement. 23 hours a day in a cell the size of a parking space. You've been here for 3 years. You'll be here until you die. Life without parole. But here's the thing. You run more from this cage than you ever did in general population. Every message flows through you. Every major decision is yours. You have captains in 8 facilities reporting to you. You have soldiers on the outside, managing drug routes, handling money, maintaining relationships with other organizations. You're the top of the pyramid, the big homie, the man whose word is law. You communicate through attorneys, through corrupt guards, through family visits, where your wife passes along coded instructions. The administration knows. They've tried to cut you off. They monitor your mail. They record your calls. They limit your visits. But the network adapts. Messages still flow. Orders still get executed. You've ordered men killed. You've ordered truces. You've authorized new members. You've expelled traitors. You've done all of this from a concrete box where you can't see the sky. And the strangest part is how normal it feels. This is your office, this cage. These are your tools. A pencil, paper, a memory sharp enough to hold 100 names, debts, and grudges without writing any of it down. You think about the 23-year-old kid who walked onto that tier 15 years ago. Scared, alone, carrying a bedroll. You barely recognize him. That kid wanted to survive. You survived, but survival came with a cost. You'll never walk free. You'll never sit in a park. You'll never hold your daughter without shackles on your wrists. This is the price. This is the iron hierarchy. You climb to the top. The top is a cage. And somewhere tonight, a 22-year-old is walking onto a tier for the first time. He's carrying a bedroll and 1 bar of soap. He's looking at the men watching him. He doesn't know the rules yet. He doesn't know what's coming, but he will. They always do.